We have a crisis in water on the farm. I have a leak somewhere in my line, so I had to shut it off because I'm losing a lot of water. So here's some random clips of what I did to replace it. Well, YouTube, oh, it's hot out. I'll take you outside and show you what I'm working on today. And we have shade on the north side of the house again. Sun's heading back south, I guess, already. So, on my front side of my house here, I'm digging a big old hole because I have a leak in my water line somewhere. Using my homemade backhoe. If you want to see a long walk around video on that, there's a card up there. But anyway, a nice deep hole here next to my hydrant. I'm going to take a shovel and scrape that down and find the hydrant and see if any water's coming out there. The ground's pretty wet, but you know, around a hydrant the ground usually is, so I don't know if that's the leak or not. And off over this way, there's a T over here in this barrel because you can't see down in there very well. There we go. There's a line that goes that way. I used to go over another hydrant, disconnected that. But the line comes in from here and it goes out this way to my house. So I opened that up to see if there's a leak in there. Doesn't appear to be. So off over here, there was actually a chunk of steel pipe right here. And it was completely corroded shut. So I replaced that with plastic. So I've been digging and plumbing, and I just wanted to show you that sometimes being on the farmstead is not so much fun. You know, we're on a private water well. We have to maintain it ourselves. Lots of problems go with that. Of course, being out in the country because of where your well is and where the buildings are, there's a lot of water line to keep maintained too. It's just not so fun today. I really need to be working instead of playing with all this. I was digging on that and realized I didn't explain why I think there's a leak on this line between here and coming out of my grandpa's house. I know it has a leak because when I shut off the valve for this line loses pressure immediately and the other side will maintain pressure. But as soon as I open this valve that comes to this line to my house, everything loses pressure immediately. So somewhere in my line there's a leak. The weird thing is, normally when you have a leak that is as bad as it is, because I am losing a lot of gallons per day out of this line. I mean a lot, like several hundred. Normally it comes up to the surface and there's a mud puddle or something. You know, the ground is wet. So I don't know why I cannot find a wet spot in the ground somewhere saying, hey, you've got a leak here. So I'm just digging in places. My plan right now is to go from this hydrant and just dig me a new trench straight over to Grandpa's house there and tie into the water line and put this in all new and not have this loop that goes off over there and clear around over there and somewhere over there and back to here. You know, so I'm just going to put it in new and see if that fixes it. I guess I shouldn't have come back in for a break. It got hotter out there. It keeps going up. Stop going up. Still going up. That's the sensor, and it is definitely in the shade. And I really hate to show you my gross toilet, but I switched to using these laundry jugs to refill my toilet. You just refill the tank up here. You know, just refill it basically the top of that tube there. In case you don't know how to do that, you don't fill up the actual bowl itself. You fill up the tank and then you can flush it. But anyway, the point of this is I'm actually getting good practice doing this. I've lost water a lot out here, living in the country over the years. And I thought I knew what I was doing, but This is actually the third day of not having water now, and this has been a really, really good exercise in figuring out how to deal with all this. So, yeah. Shut your water off to your house for a few days and figure out how to live. Luckily, I have one hydrant I can still leave on and get water. Yeah, it's a pretty short walk up here, luckily. I don't know what it is, 300-400 feet, something like that, not bad. Use the wagon, and I gotta say, wagons are one of the best tools that I use out here on the farm. They're not just a kid's toy. Are you enjoying the cool dirt? Well, it's the next morning or something like that. I got my trench almost over to my house. I'm just a few feet away. I'm to the point where I need to turn my backhoe around and straddle the trench. Point this way now. But it is raining. I can't believe it. Can you hear it? But anyway, thought I would show you the depth I'm at. I'm aiming for 3 feet and sitting on the dirt right there. And she is pretty darn close to 3 feet. So I'm pretty happy with that I'm maintaining my level. Out here in the area of Kansas I live in, our water lines are supposed to be down 3 feet. I think you can actually get by with a 30-inch depth, but they just go ahead and recommend they be down at 3 foot, because that's how far the frost will get down to during the winter. Since it was just sprinkling, I kept at it. Starting in on my trench at the house, trying to work my way back to their trench, but it is downright pouring now, so I'm out. Well, another morning, YouTube. Yesterday was terrible. It was gorgeous and rainy, you know, and seriously, as soon as it stopped raining, it went right back up to 100 degrees, so it was beyond humid. There was no breeze. That 100 degrees heat, I could not handle it. So I quit. So we're going at it again this morning. It is 72 degrees this morning. It is gorgeous right now. Got a pretty strong, I'd say probably 15-mile-an-hour breeze going. It feels wonderful. It's cloudy, so the sun's not beating down on me. So I'm hoping to get this trench done this morning. Well, I got the trench done yesterday. I did do that. I'm actually hoping maybe I can get the plumbing done this morning. Okay, YouTube, I think I'm ready to drop this pipe into the ground. Okay, but I got that whole thing glued together, where the hydrant's gonna go, and the end where the hose barb goes to hook onto the black tubing. So that whole section is glued together. Water's been on for at least a half an hour, and there are still no leaks that I can find anywhere. I can't believe that. I'm not that good of a plumber. Normally I have a leak. I think it's a requirement. I got some sand. I'm going to put a little bit of sand around the pipe. We've started doing that. It does two things. First, it kind of lets the pipe float a little bit. And secondly, when you are digging to find the pipe, it lets you know you're close, because then you hit the sand. You know, change in soil, obviously, it's a big indicator, you're on the right path. So I'm just going to take a shovel and start shoveling in a few inches. pushed a piece of square tubing into the ground with the loader tractor there next to where the hydrant is going to stick up. Now I can clamp the hydrant to that thing, hopefully give me some stability. That's my thinking. So now I'm going to see if I can put the hydrant on. Well, I guess we'll go night vision. There's the hydrant, clamped to that post. This is a valve, or a valve, whatever. Access to the valve. What I'm trying to say, can I show you down there? There's the valve down in there. How I can reach down in there and turn that valve on and off. So if I ever need to shut off the hydrant, I can. I will just put a plate, and by plate I mean like a chunk of metal plate, but I'll just cover that pipe and I'll actually put like an inch, I think, or so of dirt over that, because hopefully I won't need into that thing. Okay, that's the update for now. Good night. It's the little things.